Welcome to another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. My guest today is an inner glow coach who transforms women from burnout people pleasers to lit up powerhouses who fiercely radiate confidence and attracts love, happiness, success they once chased. She's also the author of Running in Slippery Speed. Welcome in the one, the only Angie Hawkins. How you doing today, Angie?
Good, Pete. Thank you for having me.
Well, so glad you're here. Why don't you tell everybody a little more about yourself?
Well, like you said, I'm an inner glow coach. I help women stop chasing love and stop performing to prove they're enough so they can finally feel happy, confident, and love for who they are. And this career choice was inspired by my own personal journey, which starts in my childhood, as I think it does for most of us. I grew up in a home. Both of my parents were extremely emotionally available, amongst other things. And as an adult, I understand what that means. And I understand why they were the way they were. But as a child, I didn't really have those tools to make sense of it. So the way I interpreted the situation is that I developed the belief that I didn't deserve to be loved. So as you are probably aware, your beliefs determine your behaviors, which determine what you attract in your life. So I struggled for a very long time in life because I was a people pleaser. I was a perfectionist. I was the one chasing love and performing for validation and everything outside of myself, which is extremely exhausting. So I knew I wasn't happy and fulfilled, but I really didn't know any other way to live. And where my transformation started, 2017, my boyfriend broke up with me and then my dad passed away. And I was 37 and I had spent 37 years running away from my feelings and doing everything I could to not feel them. But the grief was so profound that I couldn't not feel them if I tried. So for the first time, I was forced to face my feelings, yet I didn't have the tools for emotional regulation. So it just felt like everything was just consuming me, and basically it just didn't go well at all. But the good thing that came out of that was it did force me to start reflecting on how I was living my life. And I realized that things needed to change. So I was living in Chicago at the time, and I decided to be happier that I wanted to move to Hawaii, which was well intentioned in the sense that I did want to make changes to live a happier life, but it was still following that theme of looking for things outside of myself to be the thing that made me happy. So when I moved here, you can't move away from your problems. So I not only did I still have all my existing problems, I developed a whole new set of problems. So, for example, I had a really hard time making friends here, and any friends that I did have were 4,000 miles away in Chicago. So it felt very lonely and isolating. This was in 2018. And so before remote work was the trendy thing to do, but I was very fortunate in that my job let me move and keep my job. But the problem with that was, first of all, not many other people were working remote. So that was like a dynamic that left me uncertain of my role. But then there was also a huge management shakeup at work that threatened my role. So the first year that I lived here, I lived in constant fear of losing my job. And then, oh, the other big thing that happened when I moved here is that to prove I was committed and all in on my decision, I bought a condo immediately. But then a month after I closed, which was only like 2 months after I lived here, a shared pipe in the building backflowed into my bathroom sink and I wasn't home. So my
Mm.
entire condo totally flooded. So those were just like three things right off the bat. And then the next 2 years was just like thing after thing after thing. And because I was reaching outside of myself for things to make me happy, and all these things outside of myself were unraveling, in turn, my internal world just started unraveling. And then COVID happened. That I don't think I have to explain how that
Yeah.
exacerbated
Yeah.
the situation. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was the end of a relationship during COVID. And it basically ended in betrayal because he had been lying to me. So I was just at this point, and I think we all come to a point at certain times in our lives where we're like, I can't take this anymore. So not only was I feeling that way, I just had this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness because it's like things have never gone well and I didn't see any hope for the future because it's like in my mind, I was like, it's always going to be like this. So I intentionally overdosed on my anxiety medication in an attempt to take my own life. And I spent a day and a half unconscious in my bathroom. I spent a day and a half in the hospital, and I was released from the hospital, and I called a friend and I told her everything that happened. And I ended with, I can't believe I didn't die. And her response was, it's not your time. And it was so profound to hear that. And I was like, okay, maybe I do have a purpose. So that's what inspired me to actually do the inner work and make the changes to turn my life around.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. So you were there a day and a half. Did someone find you?
No, so I was totally blacked out, so I don't even remember doing this, but somehow I managed to text a friend and she took me to the hospital. And I feel like, because my brain was in a certain place, but I think your soul really knows what you
Hmm.
truly want. So I think there was a part of me that didn't want to die, and that's the part of me that texted my friend for help.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that completely. So first question though, Cubs or Sox? Anybody that's listening and it's from Chicago will know exactly why I asked you this question because I'm from Chicago myself, and I'm a diehard
Really?
White Sox fan. That's why I wear this hat
I
right
was just gonna
here.
say White Sox.
Okay, look, she's like one for the safe pick.
I didn't even notice, that was White Sox because it's red. Yeah, now
Yeah,
I see it.
it's a special edition one, but yes, I am a massive White Sox fan. As soon as I saw you from Chicago, I was like, "Oh yes, this is gonna be great." Because I was born
Yeah.
in Des Plaines, so I lived there for the longest time. Now I live in Texas though too. But I was like, "Oh, it's so great. We're gonna be a couple Chicago kids there chatting it up," and it was just.
I
But
was actually just talking to someone the other day because they were, like, asking me about Cubs games, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I hate Cubs games." It's like a huge frat party, and it gets progressively worse as time goes on.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. No, we don't like the Cubs. It's all right. We're in green state. They can go piss off somewhere. But that's great though. You took a leap of faith though, going to Hawaii though. That'd be an amazing location to be in. But I mean, it sounds like it was we're all for what needed to be happening though. It's like it was the plan in place that you needed to do to get there. And it's great though because I can understand it because everybody's remote jobs were at risk now with every COVID being there. And then when COVID went away, everybody was like, they got so excited being at home, being remote, a lot of people were being told they had to go back to the office. So it was a lot of
Yeah.
changes. And the funny thing was a lot of people had to be retaught how to talk to people in an office setting, which always to me was always made me laugh because I'm just like, what do you mean, dude? I've been in the trenches since day one of this thing. So it's nothing new to me. Like being remote, it was like it always made me laugh though. It's like if you have to retrain people how to interact with other people. Like, come on, really? Like we talk to people all day. We're online all day doing all these other things, but we can't talk to people in person.
Yeah, it is a different experience because and one of the reasons why it was so easy for me in 2018 to move here and work remotely is because I was working from home most of the time when I was living in Chicago. I lived in Old Town and
Hmm.
my office was in the Loop. So if I was feeling cabin fever or whatever, wanted to be around people, it was super easy for me to go into the office. But I realized when I moved here, having that dynamic taken away was a big deal.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't have friends or didn't really know anybody here. So it's like I didn't even have the outlet to go into an office to be around other people. So it actually did take me about a year to get used to 100% remote work. So that was the good thing about COVID. I didn't have that adjustment period that other people were struggling with, but I understood why they were struggling with it because it is hard.
Yeah, because we didn't know much about it, and then all the people we lost and all the craziness that was going on and people refusing to wear masks and this and that. It just
Yeah.
became like a complete psychic warfare. Because people are getting mad. They're like, I don't want to do this. I know here in Texas, a lot of people are just like, well, I don't want to wear a mask. I'm like, as long as they're paying my paycheck, I'm wearing this mask. I don't know what to tell you. Well, you don't need to wear that. And you don't need to get vaccinated. Everybody has an opinion, which is great. But it's like, yeah. So let's talk about people pleasers. How do you
Yes.
identify someone that is a people pleaser for the people that don't know what you're talking about?
People pleaser is someone who basically lives their life for other people. For example, in my situation, part of my healing process was learning who I was because I had spent so much time being who other people wanted me to be. Like an example would be old me in this conversation. I would be saying things that I would think that you wanted to
Yeah.
hear or that would make you sound good for your podcast. Whereas me now, I'm just being me. And, if that fits your vibe, fine. If it doesn't, fine.
No, I love the title of the profile already when it says connecting through vulnerability and self for yourself. I don't give up. Anyone thinks I love it. I think that's the mentality to have. I mean, like, people may call it
Yeah.
being an asshole, but it's being honest. So, like, I mean, that's the real deal about it. Like, it's just if you don't like me, there's the fucking door for you for most people. And I think that's what people need to understand. A lot of these people just like give into it, or they get in these relationships where they're basically taught that they have to be submissive to their partner. And I just
Yeah.
get that whole thing. I don't think just like I'm just like, no, that's so like old world chaotic kind of no, that's archaic. We don't know. It shouldn't be like this. It should be a whatever works best for you kind of thing. Like, don't submit to people because you want to. So if you do feel like you're a people pleaser, what are some tips people can use to try and break out of that kind of feeling? Like stop caring about everybody else and put themselves first.
I think one of the main things you can do is actually stop to think. Like, so for instance, in romantic relationships, I used to be so obsessed with getting the other person to like me that it's like I never even would stop to think, do I like them? So I think one important thing would be, and this goes for any dynamic, it could be
Hmm.
friendships, work relationships, romantic
Hmm.
relationships. When you find yourself caring about, does this person like me? Just taking even a few minutes to self reflect and think, do I even like this person? Because a lot of the times, they're not someone who fits your values or that you would even enjoy spending time with. It's just you're so obsessed in getting them to like you and seeking their approval. So, and I guess the shorter version of that is just having the self awareness to realize that you're not invested in what value they bring into your life. You're more invested in getting them to like you.
Would you also say if you like them, a lot of them don't have that fear of loneliness. They just don't want to be alone, so they just attach to somebody just because they don't want to be, regardless whether or not they fit with their normal, what fits their vibe kind of thing. They just kind of latch onto somebody.
That is an amazing point, and I do think I actually, this is my opinion, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear this. There are a ton of people in relationships right now for that exact same reason, and I'm aware of that because I used to be that person. So once you heal things in yourself, not only is it easy to see it in yourself, it's
Hmm.
easy to see it in other people. But the thing is, when you have a strong sense of identity and you love who you are, you actually love your own company. I used to hate being alone. Now I love it. It's like someone else has to enhance that experience. Otherwise, I'm not interested. But there's so many people who don't even have a sense of their own identity. So they need that other person to bring something to the table that they can latch onto. And there are, unfortunately, a ton of relationships like that.
Do you ever call people out for that? I'm sure you sit there and go, "Hey, listen, by the way, you don't need him. You don't need to be self dependent of him." I have a feeling that that's what you do to people.
Yeah, I try to be empathetic though, because again, I used to be that person. So I know how harsh it sounds. I just try to point out that actually, what I do try to point it out, but
Yeah.
without being so harsh. It's more of a practice of try doing something on your own and how does that feel? And if it feels uncomfortable, why does it feel uncomfortable? So then you can solve the root of the problem instead of just saying, don't do this because it's not good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. That's why it's like, look at it. So I wait for your response. You start laughing. I'm like, yeah, she's the asshole friend. I love it already. We're getting get along. She's the asshole friend. It's okay, because sometimes you need that friend though to tell you the honest truth of like, hey, you're fucking up. You need to know that you're fucking up right now, like kind of thing. And it's just like, but it's just so funny though because like you see it and then you're like, well, I've been there. Like I've had people talk to me about their situations. I'm like, one of my buddies, I was like, man, I've been through the same situation you've been through. I'm telling you, it feels identical to what I was dealing with, and
Yeah.
and he was there for me, and I'm here for him, and he just doesn't want to hear it either on my end. But I think he knows I'm right because I'm like, I'm not one to come just start calling things out to you, man. I'm not going to just start saying shit to you for no reason. I'm going to tell you because I've been there. I know what it's like. And so many of these people I run into have these similar problems. It's the same thing. It's like one of my employees is like that a little bit too. And it's like I was like, I feel like you're like so you need a man to do everything for you. Is what I always joke with her all the time about, but I kind of feel like that's the case though a little bit. But
Yeah.
I love to give her a hard time, but I mean best wishes to her, no harm to her at all. But I just love to fuck with her with that thing. I always say that to her. I'm like, well, I'm like, you need a man to do everything for you. Well, I can't find this thing. Did you go look for it? Like I like fucking with them all the time with that kind of thing. But it's at the end of the day, it's like when you start hearing people in the same situation you've been in, it's like listen, hey, I've been there, man. Call me if you need anything because I could tell you right now what the next steps are going to be about these things because like
Yeah.
you just see it just going and you're just like, I hope you listen because I know I didn't during that time period. I didn't care. I didn't want to hear it and I didn't want to see it because love is blind.
Yeah, and that's the problem. To really change, you have to want to change.
Hmm.
And that's what's hard because some people aren't like I was like that for a long period of time. I knew how I was living wasn't working and it didn't feel good, but I really wasn't willing to make the changes I needed to make because changing is hard. I'm not going to
Yeah, got
sugarcoat
it.
it, but
It
it's
is.
totally worth it.
Oh no, I agree. I agree 100% with you. Like, no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I agree with you 100% there. I was just like, I agree. It's like making the changes are hard, but once you see the changes and how much different you are than when you start reflecting on when you were back then, it's like you start laughing at yourself almost because you're like, damn, I let myself go through this kind of crap. Like, really? What the
I
fuck?
know. 'Cause I used to struggle so much, and I thought life was so hard and everything was against me, and all it took was changing my inner beliefs, and now I'm like, life is so much easier, and I'm like, "Why did I struggle for so long?"
Because you were in that comfort zone, you think about it. Because like,
Yeah.
I was with the narcissist for 15 years, and then I attracted another narcissist right afterwards, and she knew it, she knew she could feed on that from me, and then when I met my wife, she was somebody totally different. It's kind of broke the whole mold of everything else because she wasn't like everybody else, she understood what I was dealing with. She won't tolerate my shit, so she's like, "This ain't the same shit we're doing before. We're not gonna do this shit anymore." But, she's raw and honest about things, and that's what I like about her, though, is, like, she's just so real
Right.
about shit with you, like, she doesn't sugarcoat anything, like, she'll literally just tell you straight out, like, "You need to cut the fucking bullshit," and kind of thing, and a lot of people, when they hear when I tell them about her kind of thing, I gotta go, "Well, she's kinda bullying." No, she's being honest, she's making me deal with what I have to deal with because a lot of times she'll be like, "Oh, you don't like that? Okay, well then, she makes you reflect on what it is you did. Okay, well, you don't like how that feeling is? Well, get mad about it if you want, but you're not going to do that shit to me," kind of thing. Because you get stuck in those patterns like after 15 years and then you're so used to how
Mm.
things used to go. And then you're with this person who just shatters that whole reality of what you're used to dealing with, because my ex, she cheated on me and I didn't even realize it until my buddy was the one that pointed it out to me. He kept telling me, "Hey man, look at what's going on. Hey man, what's going on?" He's like taking the hammer, like, "Hey man, look what's going on," kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you just don't want to see it for what it is because you're so like locked into what they're telling you. She gaslit me a lot, and I was on
Yeah.
that edge several times or almost took my life several times because I was just like, I just had that sense that self-worth was zero. And then that voice in the back of your head is telling you, just go for it. Just go for it. You're worthless. These things, and it just cycle in the back of your head. And you can't tell most people that because most people look at you like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Are you
And that's
crazy?" And
why I
then all
like to
things.
talk about it, yeah. Also, on your wife, I think a lot of people don't understand how important it is to have someone call you out on your shit,
Exactly.
because those are the kind of people that help you grow and become a better person, as opposed to, for example, sounds like several of your exes and several of my exes, all they do is just constantly tear you down
Mm-hmm.
as a person.
They tear you
So,
down,
yeah,
make
you
you look
want
crazy,
someone to
all that
call
good
you
stuff.
out.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm appreciative of it, and I get pissed at the same time because I can't take responsibility at all. I'll be the first one to tell you, I suck at it. I suck at taking responsibility. To be honest with you, it's terrible. It's one of my flaws I have. Is just a hard thing to do. So I never had to take responsibility for things. And she just calls me out and she just says, "Hey, listen, you're fucking up or something." You see, and it hurts, man. It hurts, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like you need that like band-aid rip effect on, because if you don't, it's like you don't realize what you're doing is you're causing so many problems that by the time you realize how good they were for you, they're going to be fucking gone because you just fucked everything up. I think that's what a lot of people do though. They self sabotage too.
Oh, definitely. And then, yeah, and if you don't have someone calling you out on that, then the cycle just keeps going. And because sometimes you're so ingrained in, like, for
Hmm.
instance, like I'm sure in your past relationships, like you're so in it and you know you're not happy and it's not working, but you like need an outside perspective because you don't have that outside perspective. But you need someone to be like your friend was like, "Hey, she's cheating on you."
Yeah, yeah,
To your point, sometimes you choose not to listen even when you do have that outside perspective. So I think the biggest turning point is when you decide that you want to change, because
yeah.
then you're open to that feedback no matter how much it may hurt, because that's a big part of the healing process, is that you have to take accountability for your role in situations, because Like, I have situations with exes where it's like, yeah, I was actually contributing to the problem, even though they were cheating or whatever. Not that I deserved that, but I
Yeah.
was tolerating it. I wasn't walking away. So, in a way, I was teaching them how to treat me.
But why do you think that is people do that though? Like these people always say like, oh, everybody cheats, and they're like, oh, well, no, he won't do it again. But he'll do it again if he did it once. What makes you think he ain't gonna do it again?
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean. Like that's my thing. It's like once it happens to me, it's like one and done. And maybe it's my Aries moon that comes through. It's just like once you piss me off or you get me so jaded, I'm like, all right, well, you're done. Chop off. Here you go. You're out of here. Like like cutting the head off the hydra, man. You're done. I'm just done. I don't, But it's like you always see people go back into them, and they're like, oh no, he won't do it again. But he does it again, and then you're still there. It's like, why do people continue to do that though?
A lot of I can only speak to women, but a lot of women do it to what we were saying before. They don't want to be alone. But a lot of women also, for whatever reason, have this mentality of, I can fix him. Because it's like you want to be the person that they change for. But again, most people don't change for something outside of themselves. If they do, it's not long lasting. Long lasting change comes from when you make the decision, I want to change, and then actually actively working toward that change. But no one else is going to change for you, especially within a romantic relationship.
Fun fact by the way, Angie, that my according to my star chart, it says that I'm more likely to have more women friends than men friends. So like getting the perspective from your guys' side is great. So I can better understand these things. So I can be like, girl, this is what I learned today.
And now I see why you and Melissa get along, because she's always also, fun fact, her and I have, like, we were born like a day apart, so we have almost the exact same chart.
Yeah,
But
she said I was an
she's
Aries moon
always
is there too. That she
yeah,
said that's
she's
why we get
always
along.
throwing in like the astrological facts.
Yeah, have you ever done one of those before? Those are so fun. I did a whole episode where I had invited somebody to come on. She just like, I think she had 12 publications at the time, but that's literally what she was doing. She read the my chart. We were talking about it, and we got into each house and we were talking about it. And it just felt like that. She was reading all the different things off and things like that too, which led me to go down to human design is the next thing that's coming up soon. I got somebody coming on
Yeah.
talking about human design, which I'm a man generator there. So we're going to cover that a little more too. But yeah, I've always loved astrology since I was a kid. It's always fascinated me. I always wanted to be an astronaut as a kid, but so space has always fascinated me, different planets and all the planetary things and all that stuff's always been an interest. And then when Melissa kept mentioning moon, I'm like, what the hell is that moon? What does that mean? She's the one that got me turned on the idea. I was like, what is that? She's like, oh, you never had your birth chart read? I'm like, no. So I was doing something, and luckily Carmen Turner, who came across, was like, hey, yeah, da da da. I know I'm an astrological psychologist. I was like, oh, okay, this has to be fake because it was Aries moon. Then that message shows up in my inbox, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So it was interesting to see, where it went. And she's supposed to come back, and I have to reach out to her because we're going to talk about the different star signs and things like that too. We're going to go deeper into all the different, astrological signs and things like that too. So that'll be some fun stuff to do as well because, it's just interesting to see because it's so fascinating how much information she could tell that I didn't tell her when we were doing it too. She's like, oh, I know you have problems with your mom. And I'm like, are you in
Really?
this room with me somewhere, dude? This is crazy. Yeah, because she was like, she's reading all these things off, and it was just right on point as she goes, and things like that too. And it was just like, this was crazy because she's like, me and her have never had a conversation prior to this. Now she knew who I was because apparently she's does work with a friend of mine that used to be came on the show before, Sherry Ann Boyle. And me and her met last year. And then it turns out that the two of them knew each other. She's like, yeah, we were just talking about you last night on the phone. I was telling her to be on your show. And I was like, oh, yeah, you better tell her I said hi, tell her, don't forget about me out there or whatever, But it was funny because that she knew it's him and things like that too. And I was like, okay, so this is interesting. So when we went through it, that was one of the highlights. It was that public speaking or something like that. So like, since we do a podcast, it all fell in alignment to where it was because of where the house it was. It was like the 10th house where a lot of activity was. So a lot of that came up, and then it's very spirituality came up. And then the fact that I can make friends, like I have more women friends than guy friends, was just how the chart laid out. So like I get along with females better than I do with most males, but I can get along with anybody, honestly. But it's
Yeah.
always so fascinating though, because it was like, damn, I didn't tell her anything. And then all she just starts calling these things out. And I'm just like, oh, whoa, okay. Is there a hidden camera in this room? I'm a little concerned right now.
Her name's Carmen Turner.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I tried to Google her. I'll do more later.
I'll
That
send you
is
some
really
information
cool.
from her. Yeah, I'll definitely send you some information about her. She's
Okay.
on the site where we met on. That's how I found her. And then I have her on
Okay.
Instagram as well. If you're on Instagram, I know you are. I'll
Yeah, I
shoot
am.
you. I'll shoot you a message with
Okay.
all our information and stuff too. But yeah, so let's get into your book though. What's your
Okay.
book about?
My book, it's called Running in Slippers. It's a memoir. It covers a 5-year total train wreck period of my life. Basically, starts because in my story that I told
So
in the
real
beginning,
quick, running in slippers, is that a reference to Cinderella?
no. So what it means is, well, I explain how I came up with the title in the introduction of the book, so I
Okay,
won't give that away.
definitely
But
don't.
basically, what it means, I live in Hawaii and flip flops are called slippers. So it basically
Okay.
means running in flip flops. But overall, it's a metaphor for life because life is hard and running in slippers is hard. So, running in slippers, it can be adventurous, playful, and fun, but it can also be dangerous, painful, and scary. So, the overall meaning is it's a metaphor for life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what inspired you to write the book though? What was that one defining moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna write a book about this?
The inspiration was that grieving period that I mentioned after my dad died
Yeah.
because we live in a just get over it society. And so after 2 to 3 months, people just expected me to get over it. And I was not over it at all. I was still in really profound grief. And I didn't feel comfortable talking to anyone about it. And not only that, it's like I would go on social media and it's like everybody was posting all these happy pictures and how great their life was. And I would just have these thoughts like, I can't be the only one feeling this way because there was such a contrast between how I felt inside and
Hmm.
what the external world was showing me. Because in real life, people were putting on their happy face and pretending everything was fine. On Instagram, people are just showing all these happy pictures. And I was like, this can't be real life. Felt like everyone was wearing masks
I think
and I
everybody
think
is.
we all know. Yeah, I think we all know by now that, social media is heavily filtered and edited, so the inspiration came at that point because I was like, "I want to write this really vulnerable memoir to actually show how hard life is and the things that we have to go through in life," but at that point in my life, I just didn't have the confidence to put myself out there like that, like, the thought of actually doing it was so terrifying that it's like I had the idea and I actually had started writing pieces of it, but
Yeah.
in my mind, I was never going to put it out so that other people could actually read it. But how it came about that I finished writing it and published it was that conversation with my friend after I got out of the hospital because she said, "It's not your time." And it really made me realize how lucky I was to be alive. And I was like, maybe I do have a purpose. And in like the initial few weeks after I got out of the hospital, life felt extremely fragile. And I felt like I needed a purpose or something to get me through those days. So I decided I'm going to write this book, no matter how difficult or scary it is. And that's whether it's my purpose or not, it at least gave me that feeling of having a purpose that actually gave me the motivation to follow through and actually publish it.
Yeah. So the moment you published it, okay, what was your biggest fear? Were you afraid of how people were going to react when they found out the real story, especially when it comes to the suicide part? Because when you say that,
Yeah.
ever notice how a lot of people treat you differently afterwards and they kind of like kid glove you a bit? It's like, oh, well, let's not be too harsh with Angie because she may get upset or so and so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that feeling? It's like that moment when I found out I was diabetic. People just treated me differently. It was like they felt like I just had a death sentence given upon me because they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, why do you say it like that? You know what I mean? It's like people don't realize what they say to you and the tone of voice it gives off because like it was like every time I told somebody about it, yeah, I found I'm a diabetic. I'm sorry. Like it's like first off, fuck you all because y'all making me feel like I'm dead already. Like I have a death sentence.
No, I know what you
Because my
mean. It's
uncle
like the
he
pity
passed away
tone,
from that.
right?
So yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely there was like the pity aspect, which is like cringy to your point.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's a good point. No, my biggest fear it was criticism really because my worst moments of my life are in that book, my worst decisions. This was at a time, it was before my healing journey in earnest.
yeah,
So I didn't have emotional regulation. I was overthinking. I had chronic anxiety and I put all of that in there. And I was like, people are going to criticize me because I'm an idiot, blah, blah, blah. But you wouldn't believe how many people reached out to me. And this includes people that I've never even met before
Yeah.
who have reached out to me and are like, that exact same thing happened to me, or this is so relatable. And it just goes to show that people really are going through the same things. We're just not talking about it.
Yeah, but that's just the thing right there. You hit it right on. We're not talking about it enough, and that's why this show even exists because we talk about these things here.
Yeah.
I don't leave any topic untouched. I think there's only 3 times in this whole show I've ever decided not to have a conversation, and they all were because they went too far off. I had a feeling that okay, like, if we started talking and start going to that tangent, I don't want to be a part of. So, but I've touched every subject on this show. So I can tell you right now, I know that feeling. And then like people know I do this show. I don't care what people think anymore at this point. At first it was nerve wracking every time you hit record in the first like 5 minutes, you don't know how this conversation is gonna go. But now it's just like I don't even care anymore. I just hit click and go. I have people ask me all the time, like how you do it. I'm just like, I just do it, man. It's like, and with that said though, because I have depression. So sometimes some weeks I'm just really down. But I get up, I do the show, and no one ever even have an idea what's going on because I don't let anybody know because I just don't want to hear
Yeah.
the I'm so sorry. I don't want to hear all your shit. I really don't want to hear it. Just Jim Ross said it best. I don't give a fuck about your problems. I'm only worried about my own at this point. You know what I mean? As harsh as that is, that's just what it is. And I love it though. I love the fact you posted it because then you can turn around and say to people, well, I brought us to a book. What did you do with your life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I put my story out there. You're gonna judge me about my story. So what's yours? Let's go. Let's compare stories and see which one happens to be different. You know what I mean? And a lot of those people that say these negative things. And social media, I fucking hate social media at times. I really do.
Yeah.
All these
I mean,
misinformation videos, all this crap people are putting out, and it's like no one checks their credibility. It's like, these people giving you all this information, like what are their credentials? If they don't say doctor, most of these people don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about for a lot of things. Unless they have some kind of training of some sort, they just start giving out this information. The people that believe it, like, can you all please stop? Please stop
but
believing these
unfortunately,
people.
yeah, unfortunately, even sometimes people with credentials aren't
Oh,
credible.
yes. You're right, too. That was a good point, too. Very good point, because some of them are wackos. Yes, yes, ma'am. You're right. Okay.
But no, I mean, and that's just it because I used to take negative feedback from other people so personally. But when you really stop and think about it, the people who are criticizing, they're so miserable in their own lives that they're just projecting things outward.
Exactly.
People who truly have, like, for instance, your wife, like, I'm sure the feedback from her is more constructive. Like, she's not like, oh, you're an idiot, blah, blah,
Her
blah.
exact
She's just being
statement
real.
her exact statement was that you had to be authentic, and that was she hammered it home, and she was kind of a bitch about it a little bit, but she wasn't
Oh,
wrong though. But she wasn't wrong though. But listen. As I say that, don't take that the negative way, guys. She was right though. She was real raw, and very serious about it because she knows a lot about it because her own stuff she deals with. She's like, if you're gonna do this topic, you need to be fucking authentic. Don't sit there and sugarcoat, be fake, because
yeah,
people read through that bullshit real quick, especially those people that have a lot of real serious issues. They can read through that shit real quick. So that
yeah.
was her one message. So I mean, she's not wrong. You think about it because authenticity goes farther because that way you can connect with people. Because if not, people just don't care.
Yeah, but that's my point. You do need constructive criticism
Hmm.
sometimes. Just like the like like just I don't know, I'm just thinking about, and luckily I've only had a few things directed at me on social media, but it's mostly the other things I read toward other people, and it's just like I just can't even imagine saying that to anyone else online or in person.
God, yeah. The things that get said are just like some of these videos where you read the comments section. That's literally all I'm there for. It's just the comments because you want to read the just level of stupidity. It's just guys getting said. Like I've had people comment on mine. We were talking about something to do with phones and how people are addicted. I can't remember what this guy said. I was like, that's a very interesting take. I was like, I don't know what else to say to you at this point because, like, what? Like they say some weird things, and you're just like, I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about, dude? Like, can you clarify that? I don't even remember what this guy was talking about. He said, oh, that's not the problem or something. I was like, okay, well, thank you for your opinion. Just like. What? Like everybody's got an opinion, man. It's just social media just cracks me up. And the good point though is what you said is that people are masking. I think a lot of these guys online, when you really peel back all the layers, putting yourself out like that, like, oh God, there's a guy I watch. His name's King Scratch. He does a lot of food reviews and all these other things. He used to go live on Twitch a lot of times. And when King was on there, he'd always tell you he's just real authentic. He's like, dude, I get the craziest emails all the time from people, death threats from people too, and all these other wild things. And he's just sharing his opinion. Like, if you're that mad, you're going to threaten to kill somebody because you don't like their opinion, then why watch his videos? Stop watching it then. It's just simple as that.
Yeah, that's what kills me. Like, yeah, if I don't like something, I just keep scrolling. I can't imagine attacking that person for
No, they
having
attack him. He was
opinion.
open about it too. He's like, "Yeah, they attack me. They try and attack my family members. Try to say things like this, say that." He's like, so he was his big message to people was like, "If you're gonna be online," he's like, "just get ready because it's gonna get ugly. These guys will say anything they can to get you to say something." You know, him and then what's the other guy? Mr. Chime Time's the other one I watch a lot too. He always has a raw opinion about things, but it's like you could tell somebody gets pissed by something he says because like he goes out and reviews these restaurants and things. And one of them got so mad by the review, or the Keith Lee guy too, as well. That was the other one too. Keith Lee, the one where he went to that one restaurant, they were just treating him horrible, and everybody just went after him, and it was just like one big social media fight. It's like, yo, just stop, quit.
Oh, restaurant? That makes it even funnier. I thought you were gonna say it's about politics or
Oh
something because
God,
I know
no.
not that it's right, but I know people get
I
heated
can't
over
remember what's his
that.
name. Charlie, the one guy that always sits there. It's always talking to these people all the time. It's always funny to listen to some of these people make comments to him. And you're like, you just want to cut their mics off and they start saying the most like obscure things. And he's just sitting there smiling at them. And I'm just like, I don't think I could do it. I probably just don't have to tell him to cut the mic off. Like, just stop them because then they start saying things. It's like, I get everybody has an opinion, but sometimes we shouldn't share certain opinions because it's just like, now it's just like, what? I'm sorry, what did you say? It's like you're having a serious conversation. This person randomly says something. You're like, excuse me, what did you just say? What the fuck? You know, and it just concerns me though, you know, and it's like, what are we teaching the youth of society though, too, especially their mental health, because you're telling them, you know, especially Instagram for, especially other Instagram models and things like that too. It's like, what are you teaching these young ladies that their appearance is the number one thing? As like,
Yeah.
you're not basically teaching them good values. You're telling them that, you know, being the prettiest means that you'll have the most friends and it's how people like you when that's really not the way it works, you know, and it's horrible. You know, and the statistics are in too. Like me and one of my guests, Mr. Whiskey, and I were discussing, you know, that 21% of younger men, as soon as social media was introduced, the suicide rate went up 21%. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's like now you have more ways to attack people. And, you know, you can bully people. You can say things to people, you know, and it doesn't matter how famous you are. People still look at the hate comments. Bert Kreischer, the comedian guy who does Two Bears, One Cave, he openly admits several times that he doesn't read the positives. He looks right to the negative comments all the time. And him and Tom were talking about that. And he's like, yeah, I always look right at the negative comment sections. And his Bert, as big as he is, and him being a comedian, you know, he just, that's all he focuses on is he like zeroes right in on them and he looks right at the negative comments. And with that being said, it's like, you know, it's so interesting that, you know, even the successful he is, he's worried about what the negativity of you guys are spreading to him.
Yeah, that is so wild. Because I think we all do that, right? You can have 1,000 positive comments, and it's that one negative comment that sticks with you.
You know, yeah, because you want to react. I mean, I did that at first on TikTok. I used to sit there and argue with people on things, you know, make all these videos just to controversially upset people. I've got banned like 5 times before I took it serious, you know, because I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm just going to go for it, you know. I want to have some fun with this because they say some things to you, and especially when the mask, it was around COVID when it really started. And decided I was going to go on and decide to see how long it took to get me banned. About a year in, I finally got banned because they finally got tired of my crap because I was troll hunting people. I was looking for trolls in the comment sections every time I went to somewhere and I was attacking them because I'm like, okay, cool. You want to troll somebody? Let's troll back. So, you know, I thought it'd be fun for a while. Did that for a bit. I got bored of that. So I, you know, finally started doing another podcast, which eventually evolved into this one. But, you know, it was an interesting time on social media. I think it's very, you know, the FOMO thing comes in really heavily. People get that fear of wanting to miss out and things like that too, or they're doom scrolling on their phones and they're just going through these videos and it's just like, instead of solving the problem by not making it so addictive, they make it addictive. And then it's like, oh, well, I have to support this person or else they won't be my friend. And then yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. It's just like, oh, God, please stop, everybody. Just turn it off your phone once in a while. It's okay. It won't kill you.
Yeah, it is actually really healthy to unplug from your phone and have time away.
See,
Because
Angie even
even
said
I
this.
used to think I used to scroll on my phone and think that I was taking a mental health break because it is so mindless, but it's actually kind of stressful for the reasons that we're describing because first of all, it's filtered and edited, people are negative.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have that comparison syndrome when you see someone doing better than you. So I don't think it's healthy at all, even if it does seem mindless.
I could tell you all right now, I've had more top ranked podcasters on this show, and I don't even let it phase me one bit. It's like, it's awesome. I appreciate their time. And then, you know, it's like, if I get there, I get there. I'm just going to do me. And, you know, it took me a while to get to that point of, you know, at first it was like, oh God, these people are doing so much wrong to me. And I'm just like, ah, fuck it, whatever at this point, you know, I'll figure this thing as I go. Cause I have no idea what I was doing in the beginning of this thing. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I've just kind of
Yeah.
figured out as I go kind of thing, and it's been fun. Why not? It's like I get to meet great people along the way. I would never met Melissa or anybody else along the way had I not started doing this thing, and it's been great. I love it.
But do you have the experience? Because in my healing journey, because I used to be the person, if someone was doing better than me, I would get jealous and kind of be like, well, how did they get it? Or they must be lucky. But now I explore it with more of a
Hmm.
curiosity lens, like, well, what are they doing different? What can I learn from them? Because I think the truth is they're just at a different phase in their journey. Because
Yeah,
it's like they may not have started at the same time as you or whatever. And maybe they were gifted with more resources, but that doesn't mean you can't learn from their experience and get to
exactly.
that level.
I think that's what a lot of people forget. It's like, why envy them? Why not see what they're doing and kind of take notes, see what they're doing,
Yeah.
and look up just kind of research what people are, what different items they're putting out, these and things like that. I myself am probably more successful than I realize, honestly. People see, there's a lot of people watch my show that come up to me and say they watch the show. And these are people I've never met sometimes. They're like, oh, yeah, I seen your podcast. And I'm just looking at them
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, okay, cool. Like most of my people that I work with, a lot of people I work with, I found out are watching it too. They're like, oh, I watch it all the time. I watch it on YouTube. Or I'm like, I'm everywhere.
It's cool.
So it's so funny because a lot of people will come up to me and go, well, hey, listen, I know you handle these topics. And it's like, okay, this is about to get interesting real quick. Here we go. Well, hey, I know you handle these kind of problems, and I don't mind asking people asking me questions about things like that too. It's great that they have somebody feel they come talk to that's going to listen to what they say. And one of the girls I work with, she was like, I love how you don't judge people. I'm like, well, no, I mean, the minute I got into this space, you can't judge people. Like you don't know what
Yeah.
someone is going to tell you when you hit record. I've had a few moments where I was just like, holy shit, this is getting out of. We may get in trouble here in a minute, but let's see what happens. I'm always trying to see what conversation's too far for people when it comes to this thing, because like this is somebody's story. It's like you can't get mad at them for having their story. And I've heard
Yeah.
some crazy stories on this while recording this show, like some crazy shit. One girl, she was like kidnapped 3 or 4 times. She was actually a cam model too. She had her son and it was a cam model on the side. These just like all in one story too. This is all one story. She got kidnapped. She got held hostage. I think at one point too was part of her story
You
too.
mean from the people who are watching her on the cam? Who kidnapped her?
Oh,
This is so
even people she knew.
fascinating to
It
me.
was people she knew.
Oh,
It's people she knew, if
oh
I
my
remember right.
God.
Yeah, it was a wild ass episode. I still talk to her here and there. I see her because she's always live on TikTok and stuff too. But she was so cool though. She came on and I think she had the best message ever. She in her episode she says that my name's Whitney, and she says I deal with these things. And I think that's to this point is that like just because you're diagnosed something doesn't mean you have to use that as a label. That doesn't label you as anything else. I think she had a great message when she
Yeah.
said that my name's Whitney. I deal with these things. It does not define me as a person. And it was rough conversation. It was like we were going on a roller coaster together, girl. I'm telling you, holy
You can listen
shit.
to the
Yeah, it's
episode.
called the episode's name Meet Whitney is the episode. I think it's
Okay.
like episode 61. Whitney is actually she's
Okay.
she's on TikTok. Very pretty girl. Cam Elvis does stuff like this too. But when you really get into deep conversation with her, she's actually really intelligent too. So like don't let her looks fool you, because a lot of people based on society would think, oh, she's not, oh, she doesn't know. No. This girl is very brilliant. She's a hairdresser, has her own business, doing her own thing, raising these kids on her own. She has 2 kids and everything else too. Very interesting story. Like everybody kept telling me, hey, you need to talk to her. And then when we talked and we did the interview, holy fuck, I didn't think we were going to get into what we did. But it was just like, we've had two got people on the show who've actually been kidnapped. One of them was a 911 operator. He was on one of my other podcasts I did. He came on and he was telling the story about how he pulled over to help somebody, and it really was a trap. So he got held hostage and they let him go because he was a 911 operator. Yeah. That
So
con
they didn't know. Oh,
he,
that's
he
so
the
wild.
conversation got even weirder. Okay. So in this conversation, my co-host decides to take over and go, well, there's one time I followed some guy home because he needed a ride home and he offered me drugs of some sort. And we're just like, the fuck? Like what? Like, it just got out of hand completely as this conversation was just going. And I'm like, we're here to talk about Darren. What are you talking about, dude? Like, we didn't ask you what weird things you need to tell us today. So as we get close to wrapping up this episode, I do have a couple questions for you though. Angie, let me ask you a question that comes in from my good friend Gretchen from the shit that goes on in her head.
Talking to Gretchen on Saturday.
Okay, so she may ask you this question, so you can let her know I stole her question, by the way. She said to me,
Okay.
Pete, if your mental health had a song, what would that song be? So my question to you is the same thing. Angie, if your mental health had a song, what would that song be?
Well, you know that song? There is an actual song that I feel like describes my mental health. You know that like trending song? It's not trending anymore. It was earlier this year. It's called Anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, I love this song. It's like my life theme song." So it would be that one.
Yeah, see, so far we've had Rage Against the Machine, Michael Jackson's Beat It. What was it? Led Zeppelin was one of them too, and things like that too. It was interesting when she asked me that question because I had several different answers to that song. And I think the newest one to fit it would be "Is It Me" by Let Me Bleed. They're actually a good friend of the show. I talk to them all the time. I've been trying to get the lead singer Eddie to come on because I want to hear more about his story too. But it just resonates so well because we all have that feeling: is it me or is it not me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
and,
Oh, I
and
like
things.
that.
So,
Yeah.
but all right. So the next question and the purpose of this podcast is if you could break the stigma of mental health. Now, I'm saying anything that you see out there that you just want to tell somebody, hey, stupid, shut the fuck up. What would it be?
So my biggest, I would call it a pet peeve.
Hmm.
The biggest stigma around suicide is that it's selfish. And that pisses me off so much because and the way I try to describe it, and I still don't think people understand it when I explain it this way, but if your leg was chopped off and you were bleeding out at your leg, you would not be thinking, oh, my family and friends are going to be so sad if I die, and I'm so worried about how they're going to feel about this. You would be focused on the pain on your leg, and that's it. And it's the same thing with your mental health. When you're in that much emotional pain, that's all you can think about and focus on. So to say it's selfish is just completely not compassionate in my opinion.
Couldn't say it any better myself. I agree. It's not selfish. It's more that you want the voices in your head to stop, or you don't feel you're worthy
Yeah.
enough, or you're not worth enough to people. It's anything but what people think it is. It's like they're not in the right state of mind, and people are like, well, I wonder what they were thinking. Well, let me tell you what they were thinking. I can tell you what I was thinking. Angie can tell you what she was
Yeah,
thinking. But are you going to listen? And another thing is
exactly.
when you tell somebody to call you if they need something, don't turn them away. Okay, don't freak out. Don't panic. Don't
Or
sit there.
treat them weird to your point earlier.
Don't treat them weird. If they call you talking like that, just stay calm and listen to what they're saying. Talk them through it. Like, listen, hey, listen, okay, are you okay? What's wrong? And just let them rip. If it gets that serious, you feel like it's need, three-way call 988 and hand them off to somebody who knows what they're doing at that point. If they get mad at you for doing so, let them be mad at you because at the end of the day, you don't know how serious they are. And another thing I learned too is that ask them, hey, are you thinking about committing suicide? And just see what they respond to you. Because sometimes it takes that shock value, that question alone for people to say something else and respond and go, hey, well, fuck no, or think about what they're really saying to you, but do not panic. For the love of God, please do not fucking panic
Yeah, that
because
makes it worse.
God, it does. Peace be.
Also, because I think the knee jerk reaction, especially if you've never been in that situation, because my viewpoint's a little bit different. I think the knee jerk reaction is that you want to stop them from harming themselves. But if you are just present with them and listen to them, because a lot of people ask me, like, what if you could go back and talk to that version of you, what would you say? And the truth is, I wouldn't say anything. I would just give her a hug. And it's because it's just like having that loving space to be accepted for who you are and what you're going through. There's nothing you can say to change how they're feeling.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Well, Angie, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If anybody wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
I am on Instagram. My handle is Angie Hawkins, and my website is runninginslippers.com. There's information about my book. It's available on paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. And there's also information about my coaching program, my Inner Glow coaching program. And I do offer a free call for new clients. It's an hour-long call. We can talk about whatever you're struggling with, and we'll work through as much as we can in the hour. And then at the end, we can talk about options for going forward. And my program is not for everyone. So if it's not, I know other coaches, I have other resources. The entire goal of the call is to get you help. So to schedule that call is also on my website.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Once again, thank you so much for coming. And guys, I'm Peace vs. Anxiety. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio. I'm on X all the way down to TikTok. And as I always say, it costs nothing absolutely to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do could save someone's life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?